What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another live broadcast of the Engadget podcast. I'm senior editor Devendra Hardwar. Today I'm joined with Sheryl Lowe. Hello, Sheryl. What's up?
Hi, it's us
Hello.
again. OG co-host pair.
Sheryl is back after so many things. After travel,
Boy.
after family time. It's great to have you back. I'm sure the chat room misses you. Hello, everybody.
Hi everyone. I see Michael Brescher is in there. I see Daniel Diaz, Kilbert. Michael Tesfaye was like, "Are we gonna start or what?" Jiaming Chung is there as well. Old Man Puzzles says, "Hey yo, gadgeteers." Michael Coley as well. Hi, good to see everyone again. It's been a while for me.
Good to see everybody. I love people who are like, "You're on a timeline. Hello, you got to start at 10." I'm sorry.
Cool.
We're going to be talking about WWDC 2022. We're going to preview that. There's a lot of stuff coming, and we've got some recent news happening this week, so we'll be diving into all of that. If you guys are new to the show here, we are basically recording the audio version of the podcast. So while we're doing that, we can't chat with you, but feel free to drop thoughts and notes in the chat. Our producers will be keeping an eye on things, and when we have time, we'll do some Q&A. Maybe after the Apple section. How about that? After we talk dub.
Yeah, I mean,
we could do some Q&A, and then we'll dive into the news. But that is basically the format, folks. Sit tight, grab a drink, enjoy, and if you have good questions, if you have good contributions, it could make into the show. So let us know.
Hi also to a few more people that were lurking before we said hello, like Jine Shah, Krishanu Singh, Purple Towns. Yeah, we have a little more time today to say hi to everyone, I guess.
Hello.
So.
Yeah, we had to be really fast last week. Yeah, this is a chill show because it's the calm before the storm. It's the calm before we actually start covering dub, as we call it. WWDC, also called dub for short.
Dub. Yep.
Dub. Hello, everybody. Hello.
Hash Browns says it's WWDC today. No, it's actually next week, but we're previewing it. So
it's next Tuesday. So yeah, we are all
Monday.
June 7th. We're all
6th, sorry, June 6th.
Yeah. God. I feel like these things are normally on Tuesdays, but
it's normally on Tuesdays. You're right, and it's just weirdly thrown.
Weird.
All of us.
Okay, so we'll dive into all the rumors and whatnot, folks. If you guys have thoughts or rumors of your own that you want to see,
address,
let us know.
Yeah.
Okay. Ready to go? You ready to kick off, Sheryl? I'm recording. Sheryl is recording. Yep. The chat is lively and ready for us to go. Let's go in 3, 2, 1. What's up, Internet, and welcome back to the Engadget podcast. I'm senior editor Devendra Hardwar.
I'm deputy editor Sheryl Lowe.
This week, we are previewing Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference, which is kicking off next week. Sheryl and our editor-in-chief, Dana Wollman, are going to be there on the ground. But we have some information. We have some leaks and things people are excited to see. So we will, let's dive into what we expect. And next week's episode will be a full recounting of everything that actually happened, okay? So, as always, folks, if you like the Engadget podcast, please be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes or your podcatcher of choice. Leave us a review on iTunes and, subscribe wherever you can. That's always good. Also, you can join us Thursdays, 10 a.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel. We do a live stream there, so you can see some behind-the-scenes action when we have devices to show off. Sometimes we do some Q&A, and we'll show off stuff there. And you can join the chat room. It's always a fun time. Okay. Do email. Also, if you have any notes about the show, please drop us an email at podcastengadget.com. We'd love to take your questions on air. Let's move on to the main news of the week. Dub is happening. I feel like this is going to be a really interesting one, right, Sheryl? Because we're expecting just like broadly, potentially M2 chip news, devices running M2 chip. So likely a new MacBook Air and Mac Minis, the usual macOS and iOS updates. Maybe some other surprises. Like, what is most exciting to you, Sheryl? Like, you're going to be there. What is driving you to go there?
Yeah, if you're talking about most exciting, it would be the things that I think what I find most exciting would be different from what like someone who's like a big Apple fan might find most exciting.
I mean, we're kind of
we're trained to be like news hounds, right? And so we're like, okay, what's gonna make the most news? What's gonna be like and also specific industry news too, right? Like maybe the general public is like, oh, new MacBooks will be most interesting for me, but no, for someone like me, it's all about those rumored AR, VR glasses or headset that Apple might be working on. Now, to be clear, it's not for sure that they're going to say anything about it at WWDC in a few days, next week actually. But very recently, I think earlier this week, something kind of fishy happened. So let me tell you about this, Devendra. I don't know if you know about this.
I saw some of the news, but yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Some company named Realio Systems LLC trademarked or like filed some patent trademark type of thing for something called Reality OS. And to be clear, Realio Systems LLC is not Apple, but it's not like Apple hasn't done something similar in the past where it used something called like Yosemite LLC.
Right. It could be a shell company, but not Apple proper. Right. Yeah.
Exactly. So people's spidey senses are tingling and pinging and going like, okay, this could be something, because part of the filing also describes like a wearable computer mechanism. So it's all very intriguing, but the thing that tells us this is probably not ready for launch at WWDC is the foreign filing deadline on these submissions, which is June 8th. That's 2 days after WWDC. So if anything, I think we're getting closer to learning more about whatever this Reality OS thing is, because they're doing these submissions, they're filing these things.
We're hearing that could be the OS behind, the glasses,
whatever,
just like tvOS is behind Apple TV, iOS, everything like that. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're getting closer to like actually learning more, but whether it's just a one more thing tease at the end of WWDC or if it'll make any sort of appearance at all is still kind of up in the air. And I think for us, that would be the most interesting thing if Apple did do that, right? It would be like,
this feels like a momentous, like it has been a while since they've had a big one more thing, I feel like, and it feels like we are waiting for that big, it's sort of like you're waiting for that big beat to drop, or like, come on Apple, drop the beat, you know what's gonna happen.
It's been like the car or the headset, like, come on.
It'll be either this year, it'll be either like this event or later this year or next year or something, but we know it's going to happen soon. So everybody's just like, do the thing, say the thing, drop the beat, please. And specifically like what we're hearing, just based on the timelines we've reported on in the past, like potentially these are going to be the like AR/VR glasses that could retail for over $2,000, like more meant for developers, but still a test bed for their vision of virtual reality and augmented reality. They're still reportedly working on like full on AR like goggles type thing. Right. And that's like further down the line, but they got to lay the groundwork somewhere, right? So they got to have an OS out. They have to have apps and software. So this would be the beginning.
I would be so excited to see something Reality OS like take on Meta in the metaverse, something like that, because as much as Meta / Oculus / Facebook have had like a foothold in this space, I feel like Apple has more of what it takes to like drive the mainstream towards something like that. So I don't know.
It depends. Like I feel like of any company really, and I really saddens me that Facebook has been the one kind of leading the way. Like when they bought Oculus, I kind of poured one out for Oculus because I always loved that company like as an independent thing. Facebook has done a good job with stuff like the Oculus Quest. Like they've pumped money into it. They've really like commandeered this market, but they've also made it very Facebook, very like closed off and isolated from everybody else. So I guess we will see. What is happening with Google, by the way? Like Google kind of killed all their VR AR stuff for a while, right? They did preview something.
I mean, they did at Google I/O just last month tease. There's no like this product doesn't actually have a name from what I can tell, but like a pair of AR glasses that are more like for translation and transcription. And it seems to have a more like conversation based sort of approach and function to it than it is about immersing you in a different reality. So more AR than VR and more like on-screen text than anything else.
Than like full on like virtual objects in your field of view or something. Like I think
or the dream camera,
right? Like the dream is like eventually you'll have glasses where you can walk outside and play like Pokemon Go, and the freaking Pokemon are like running around by your feet, and you can see them like without doing any special things. So maybe we'll get there someday. What do you think, Sherilyn, about like the M2 chip and the MacBook Air? I feel like the MacBook Air is going to be really interesting because we're waiting for like a good redesign of that thing.
Yeah.
I love the M1 MacBook Air. I reviewed it. Go check out my review. Like that thing was powerful. It had no fan. It was kind of amazing.
Right.
But it was still a MacBook Air. Like they didn't actually change much about the design. What would you like to see with a new MacBook Air? You know, like does it need more speed or does it need just like lighter weight?
Getting to like the actual things that people would actually be excited about for next week's show. Yes, the rumor is that a MacBook Air redesign is on the way. And with, like you said, M2. And before we get too far down the MacBook Air sort of discussion, the M2 is supposed to be like a slight boost in performance with 10 GPU cores as opposed to like 7 to 8
before,
on the on M1. So the MacBook Air with M2 is supposed to have this new, like, I guess, graphic processing power. But the device itself, the notebook itself, is also, like we've all said, overdue a refresh. And according to the rumor mill, it's like we're expecting obviously a bit more, in like not full inches, but like slimming down of the overall device, and then a boxier, more square kind of look that's reminiscent of the 24-inch iMacs that was released last year. And then also sort of similar to that, apparently we're expecting just more colorful MacBook Airs now with like white keyboards, with shells. I know, I'm like that.
Kind of do what the iMacs did.
Yeah.
For me, I want the like nitty gritty stuff. Like I'm looking at the MacBook Air M1. Honestly, I still use that every day. That is like my daily typing and running around machine. Too much screen bezel. Still way too much screen bezel. Like shave that stuff off. Completely lower that lower screen bezel, like the one that actually says MacBook Air. I know what computer I'm using. Just remove it. Take it away. Like remove those bezels. Give me like we love Dell and what they've been doing with the XPS 13 and 15 and 17. Like, give me that, because right now, I'll talk about this later, but I'm testing the XPS 15, and every time I look at that screen, I'm like, oh, buddy, why can't Apple do this? Why can't Apple just trim off those bezels and give me something that's really nice and clean and beautiful? We probably won't get more ports because Apple don't play that. But maybe a bigger touchpad, fix up that screen. The keyboard is already good, but maybe make it more like the ones on the MacBook Pros. There's some good stuff. Make it lighter is always good too.
Always, yes. In addition to the MacBook Air, the redesigned MacBook Air, though, it seems like Apple is also testing like 8 other Mac devices, including a pair of Macs, Mac Minis, I believe. And so with the M2, as well as potentially the Mac M2 Pro. So we might see more than just the base configuration of the SoC next week. It could be also like a Pro model is on its way.
Think about what they did when they first launched the M1 chips, right? We got the MacBook Air, we got the base level MacBook Pro 13-inch, which I reviewed and I was like, no difference. Really no difference between this and the MacBook Air. Like, why would you buy it other than it has a fan?
The M1,
and then the Mac Mini. So I feel like they're going to repeat history here, right? The stuff we saw earlier eventually refreshes to the MacBook Pros, because those were last fall, right? So we got some time, so maybe later this fall. And then we just saw the Mac Studio. So I feel like they're going to keep with this timeline, right?
Yes, I think so too. I mean, so it's not going to be completely surprising if they do launch a Mac Mini at WWDC as well. And then, what is it, like 2 Macs and a MacBook now. So that's something like 6 more things in testing, according to because Apple is reportedly testing these with third-party apps. And so according to the developer logs of those apps, that's where we're getting this information that all these devices are in testing. There could be anything like MacBook Pros or like other devices using the new M2 chips that are being worked on, but I think it's less likely that we're going to see those things.
It's going to be the oldest things at this point. That's the Air and the Mini.
Absolutely. Part of the conversation going on in our YouTube live chat right now is whether or not there will be a notch on the MacBook Air. Devendra, I know you had some sort of feelings about.
I didn't care about the notch. Notch was fine.
You
great,
were like, it's
actually.
fine. Exactly.
It's totally fine. If they need to remove screen bezel, if they need to do that as a way to remove screen bezel, it's perfectly fine, because you know what I don't like about Macs and Mac OS is that frickin' title bar that's just always sitting up there, kind of not
it's
doing
always
anything.
there.
So if you shove that up to where the notch is, and you have the notch kind of in the middle, that is what I liked about the MacBook Pros. Like it was really unobtrusive. When you had a black border up top, like kind of just disappeared. So sure, give me a notch there.
In exchange for slimmer bezels, right?
In exchange for slimmer bezels, like balance everything out, please. I would love to see that. Any other things you're expecting? Like, what would you like to see from the new hardware, Sheryl? Like you've tested a bunch of these things, you know.
This seems to be like a mostly Mac hardware focused event. The rest of the stuff we're expecting out of WWDC next week is more around software. And I'm still a PC user. I'm gonna test and use MacBooks, sure, but I'm like fine. Besides the changes that might be coming to Mac OS, I'm cool, man. I mean, more ports, like you said, would always be great. But
well, you know, you're our like lead Apple queen, Sheryl, so I feel like you got to dive more into Apple at this point, right?
I know I am, and I have like our work laptop is MacBooks, and I main a PC whenever I can, and so like I'm pretty proud of being ambidextrous with
by
the OS instead of OUS.
I don't know. Yeah. You're very
ambidextrous.
What
anyway.
So DubDub is mainly a software event, right? Like the whole point of doing DubDub is to get developers there, get developers like paying attention to what you can expect in iOS and macOS for later in the year. What are we hearing about the next versions of these platforms?
Yes. So big changes are reportedly coming to iOS 16 and iPadOS 16, starting with, I think people are interested in the idea of an always-on display potentially coming to future iPhones. I mean, this is something that's been long asked for a while.
Some Android phones do it, right? So
depending on the implementation, but yes, there are Android phones that do it. And
I mean, didn't the Moto X do it or something like back
long
in the
ago?
day?
Yeah. But yeah, no, this would come out with iOS 16, but wouldn't be like available unless you're on something like an iPhone 14 Pro or later. So it's not something I would say everyone can look forward to next week, but we might hear a little bit more detail on how that might work. And again, this is all based off of reports and rumors. We don't know. We're picking the most credible ones, but you know, you never know if Apple will change its mind or not announce.
And this is a feature, like we saw this on the Apple Watch, right? Like this came to the Apple Watch pretty much, and that's a much smaller display, like an always-on screen. So in a similar way,
it's very basic.
I think the reporting from like Mark Gurman at Bloomberg is basically like they may develop a way to like lower the refresh rate a lot, so that basically that screen is not drawing a ton of power, and it can still just display basic information. And you kind of have to go to the Pro phones for that, right? Because those have the promotion displays, those have like the ability to play with refresh rates more. So that would make sense. I mean,
if the iPhone 13 if the iPhone 14 base model doesn't have like higher refresh rates, I will lose my mind. But
that is at this point I feel like that is a must. Like at some point we have to do the demanding features, like hello, Android phones have had these for years. If
at least 90 hertz,
at least 90 hertz. People, the public probably won't even notice much, but I feel like they kind of have to have that because Android phones just look better at this point when they're in motion, right?
It's the main reason I'm not maining an iPhone 13 like base model. It's actually got me in a very tricky situation, right? Because I would love to use the base iPhone 13, which like the review unit that I had before I handed it off to Sam for testing is pink and pretty and light. It's just like the right size for me, but then it doesn't have promotion, so I get annoyed, so I don't use it, and so I'm stuck with the iPhone 13 Pro, which is a brick. It's just like
you're stuck with it. Well, you're stuck with the big one, right? So that's the thing. You have the 13
I've
Pro
got
Max?
the Pro and the Pro Max, so like I'm even the Pro itself, the smaller one,
the Pro itself is kind of heavy. I like a good chunky phone. Certainly, you know, I feel like the Pro Max is the thing where I feel like it's going too far. Anything Anything else, Sherlyn? Like, what else are we
Yes.
expecting from iOS
Yes.
16? Potentially
Yes.
widgets
So
on the home screen.
so just
Yeah.
with the always on display, that I started with that because actually that's the one I wanted to get out of the way.
Sure.
But the more interesting thing with iOS 16 is not just changes coming to things like the health app or the messages app. Notifications are also slated to get a bit of a change, although I don't have all the details there. But like I said, the lock screen might actually get a revamp, including new wallpapers that might integrate widget functionality. So you could
more
see,
Android
like,
stuff,
widgets.
basically.
Exactly. Well, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of Android phones have had this for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very like, well, they're trying to do more with the lock screen, I guess, because you like if you're thinking about where else can iOS improve and bring in more features that have appeared elsewhere, the lock screen is one area that has still yet to see that much change.
Have you used so iOS has had widgets for a couple versions now? Like, have you used those widgets like regularly?
I have the main one, the 2x2 on the top left.
Yeah.
That constantly embarrasses me because because it's a carousel, right? And it's like on one of them I have the Photos app. So when it toggles through the apps that are on that widget, sometimes it's just a picture of me because it's a selfie.
It's your entire camera roll.
Yeah. Or it's like a picture of my friend. I have a lot of pictures of our video producer, Brian. So sometimes a picture of Brian just shows up. And my people were looking at my phone over my shoulder. Somehow they're like, are you just incredibly narcissistic, or are you in love with Brian?
Well,
like,
yes,
it's just
but
like
also, yeah.
Anyway,
I do love that widget. I use that one too on my main screen, because one thing I'll say is, like, it is pointless to really organize your iPhone home screen beyond the first screen. Beyond maybe the second screen, but if I'm gonna look for an app, I'm gonna swipe down. I'm gonna start typing an app name and search for it. I'm not gonna go pecking around for app groups and whatever. So yeah, photos up front. Calendar, I feel like, is always a good one. I have calendar on the second screen, and one thing I just found too is the battery widget, which is really nice because if you've got AirPods, if you got an Apple Watch, gives you a glanceable way to see all those things. The widgets are good, even though it took Apple a long time to get there. Do you think they'd be useful actually on the home screen?
Well, you said that battery widget is one of your favorite. Imagine that on the home screen. It will be good, like on the lock screen,
on the home screen, on the lock screen,
on the lock screen. Because for me, I'm still like a little old school in the way I use an iPhone. Like, I organize the first 2 pages, right?
Sure.
I'm not always on the home screen. I'm not always looking at the widget. But when my phone's off or on the lock screen, then it'd be nice to see that. Although, please don't put my random selfies.
It's gonna be an option. It's gonna be an option. I feel like for normal people that have photos of other people, it is just a nice way. Like, when I open my phone, it's like, oh, new picture of my daughter that I haven't looked at in a couple of years. And the Photos app does a good job of like bringing back old highlights and like doing tweaks to them. Is like, that is actually really interesting use of like AI, and you have all this information, Apple, so kind of bring it back to me, because my human brain cannot always
more
remember
pictures of my parents now, because I've got more pictures of them now. It's good. But anyway, so that's coming apparently to iOS 16, and then iPadOS 16 is reportedly also, according to some code sleuthing, iPadOS 16 might come with a multitasking mode that could enable freely resizable windows. Just to be a bit
you
more.
Mean these windows that you can move around anywhere and resize them however you want, almost like
instead
a real computer.
Yeah, exactly. Hey,
who knows? Talk about lock screen widgets though. Like, that would be really nice on iPad. You see everything there.
Oh yeah, you can hopefully you can lay them out however too, right?
Laid out calendar, battery, everything like all at once, and maybe with an always on screen too. Like, maybe that would be nice on an iPad.
So those are, I mean, we obviously don't have the full details on everything. I'm sure there's going to be limits to those, new features, if they are actually new features coming. So we'll have to stay tuned. Another area that's supposed to be getting a big change, and that I'm personally pretty excited about, is potentially WatchOS 9 might be getting some pretty serious changes. We're hearing things like better sleep tracking might be coming, which I've only been asking for like, I don't know, years now. The only thing holding back WatchOS from competitors like Fitbit has been its sleep tracking is garbage.
Well, also the fact that you have to wear something while you're sleeping too. I feel like you just hate that idea.
That's never going to happen for me, really, and I don't think that that's something that watchOS is going to solve. But anyway, better sleep tracking. I don't know how better. Maybe it won't be reliant on you setting a bedtime schedule anymore. But anyway, there's also improved health tracking with more running stats showing up on the screen when you're tracking that, and then some more just overall improvements to that system. So I can't wait to learn more. I think watchOS 8 was like a nice but not huge jump from watchOS 7. So I think watchOS 9 might bring about like a facelift or just real meaty improvements that we could all look forward to.
I feel like the Apple Watch is due for a major update too, right? Like design wise, like not much has really changed over the last couple of years. Like I have a Series 4, and that is when they made the big jump to the bigger screen, the slightly more like refined stuff. Not much really has changed since then, like more sensors and stuff, but not like functionally or visually.
Right.
I would
Series 7 has like a much larger screen. That's about it.
Give me a recent update, Apple, because that thing still runs really well. Anything else we want to shout out? Like I know there have been some iPhone 14 design leaks going around, or at least like we have talked about it. It was a thing people were talking about. What can we expect for the iPhone 14, right? Do you think the notch will still be there, or are we expecting hole punch cameras at this point?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I think that it would be... I mean, I have my own personal wish list, obviously. Like, yes, a hole punch camera would be good, but I don't know really necessarily what's holding Apple back from doing that. I couldn't tell you how realistic it was. I would like, again, like I've already said, promotion on the base models. And then, just typical things across the board, like better battery life always. And let's see what they're going to do with their cameras and that sort of stuff.
What are they going to do with the cameras? There have been some mock-ups from case based on case design information. So I think Dave Lee put out a video, and I've seen like pictures of like, this is what the iPhone 14, potentially just the Pro, not the base model, but could be the hole punch with the little webcam and another hole punch for the Face ID sensor, which... to me looks real bad. It doesn't look that different than the notch, to be honest.
Right, exactly.
Whereas an Android phone can have just a little hole for the camera. That's it. They don't have to do the face sensors or anything.
Well, I think that's why, right? And you know what? You just touched on. I just remember that's probably why they can't really do a hole punch camera, because Face ID relies on like a more, I think, sophisticated camera.
It's a bigger camera. So the mock-ups we've seen, basically two holes. It's a little hole for the camera and like a little like oval hole next to it for the Face ID sensor, and like that doesn't... You're not actually saving much there, but okay, it's progress, I guess, for Apple.
And so like for Android phones that have the hole punch camera, like, you know, have you noticed that the Galaxy Notes or whatever, RIP, but like they just don't do the iris scanning anymore because it would require more hardware up front than a hole punch, like, I guess, notch or whatever can hide and can accommodate. So Android phones don't rely on face unlock, because even if there is a basic rudimentary face unlock available on Android, that's not the most secure. And that's why they all still have fingerprint sensors and in-display fingerprint sensors. Speaking of, if we're talking about wish list items for the iPhone 14, some sort of Touch ID would be interesting for me.
You know,
I didn't know that they're gonna ever bring it back. But
bring it, put it under the glass. What are you doing, Apple? Like, just nobody likes Face ID. I feel like that's what it kind of comes down to. It's like it's nice when it works, but not when you're wearing a mask. Not if your like phone is slightly off center. Like it is just like not as useful to me, or not as convenient, and or as fast as Touch ID was.
Yeah, it's also just scary easy to unlock it with like your friend, like you unlock your friend's phone, you know what I mean? Like show it up to your friend's face or whatever, that sort of thing. So a lot of things.
Or for police to do that too. Like it's a whole thing. Anything else you want to mention about like what we're expecting? Because we have some comments from people in the chat that we could get to.
We can always get to the comments.
Get to the comments. Thank you, producer Ben, for highlighting some of these. Michael Brescher in the chat says, if there was a blue MacBook Air, give it to me. I like the colors. The new iMac colors are really like pastel and chill. Like, bring some color back into this. I feel like I think the reporting was that Johnny Ive was not into colors, and that is why Apple really just leaned on like silver, very very clean, minimalist stuff.
It was a gold for a while, right?
Was it?
There was like the random 12-inch MacBook was gold.
Oh yeah, the random 12-inch MacBook. Yeah. Give us more choices, give us more colors. I feel like that's a good branding thing for Apple too, because those are the most accessible laptops for most consumers. And Michael Brescher also says he has a MacBook Air 2020. It still works beautifully, but it could use some smaller bezels, especially with the Dell XPS and other Windows laptops. You look, if you buy a brand new Apple laptop in 2022 and somebody walks in with an XPS 13 from 3 or 4 years ago, the screen is going to look nicer and more modern on the Dell. And I feel like that could be a problem for a lot of users. Felix Fortuna said it would be cool if Apple placed a fingerprint reader on the power button of the new Mac Mini. I feel like with Macs, it has to be on the keyboard. Like, that's the way they've kind of managed all this stuff, because people put their Mac Minis like in a corner or far away, so you can't have stuff you're hitting. Do those even have buttons like other than the power button
and the back or something? Right, the power button's what they're talking about.
So that's a good idea, but you can always buy a Touch ID keyboard, so that is the main thing there. And Rob M says, off the wall wish Apple Pencil support on the iPhone. Sure, with the Pro Max, I feel like
big enough.
Maybe a smaller stylus, maybe like a Samsung Galaxy size stylus would be kind of nice for a phone that freaking large. That would be kind of nice.
Oh yeah, we'll see. I don't see Apple kind of making a whole new Apple Pencil.
The Pencil's so big, like it is big for the big tablets. So that's pretty much it.
We'll see if they like ever enable Pencil support on later iPhone models, but it's a tricky one too. They need to find enough like support, I guess, for something like that.
Well, thank you for the comments, folks. You too can leave us live questions if you join us Thursdays on our YouTube channel at 10 a.m. Eastern. Drop us an email at podcast@engadget.com. If you've got any thoughts, we could talk about them in future
episodes.
Or predictions.
I really want to find out your predictions. Send them to podcast@engadget.com. Yes.
Do we want to break for Q&A here? I think
we could, yeah. Going back up to when people were saying, Jonathan Anderson said, Engadget, how's it going? Hey, good to see you. It's going good. We've got Chris Angelo Perez saying, good evening, everyone. That Gabra says, welcome back. And then moving on, we've got some of the hiding a camera.
Everybody. Rob Langley says
man is like, go ahead.
Rob Langley says he'd like something more than just a slab for the next iPhone. And that is, I feel like, the next thing. Like, we're waiting for foldables. We're waiting for something like that. Yeah, we all are.
The man was like, at least WWDC will break our streak of quiet news cycles in tech. I'm like, chill, let me breathe. It's okay. A quiet news cycle in tech, in gadget tech anyway, it's fine. We've got a lot of news happening in the rest of tech, and we'll get to that in a little bit, but damn.
Chris Angelo Perez points out he bought an iPhone 12 regular, really likes it, but loves the size of the Mini, and he wants to jump to that before this go away completely. Yes. I like the size of the Mini. I love the idea of the Mini. I think the reality of the Mini is it's fine. It's perfectly fine. That sacrifice of battery life really hurts.
The battery life is the problem. So unless they can like make that work, Remington House says, do you think they're gonna bring back the largest sized HomePod? I don't think so. It sounds like they've abandoned that altogether, and the mini HomePod is. Yeah, they're like,
it's like the end of There Will Be Blood. I've abandoned my child. I've abandoned my child. Like, that is,
There is one more thing I wanted to talk about for Dub Dub.
We could do like
maybe make a note, see if we can quickly maybe stitch this back into the episode. But anyway, so one more thing I wanted to bring up or draw attention to is, WWDC also tends to be a place where Apple talks about its privacy and security issues. And given how much its AirTags and like iOS features around CSAM, which is child sexual abuse material, have been in the news lately, I wouldn't be surprised if we hear a little bit more about like not direct addressing that, but sort of like, we're best known for our privacy, that sort of stuff as well. I don't know if we're going to see more like AirTag, unwanted AirTag stalking prevention features being talked about at WWDC, but it would be interesting to see how Apple handles that moving forward.
Yeah. Robin says, do you think Apple Silicon will ever support eGPUs? No, never. I've talked to Apple about this many times. It cannot because of the way the M1 chips work, basically. So the GPUs and CPU are like right there. They're all together. It's a SoC. To get eGPUs going, you got to go out to Thunderbolt. You got to bring in an external thing. It introduces a lot of slowdown. Basically, nobody at Apple is interested in doing eGPUs. And honestly, I've been reporting on eGPUs for years, forever. As a solution, the enclosures are too expensive. The GPUs are still wildly expensive. You get less speed than you would from a desktop actually running that GPU. So in so many ways, it just doesn't make sense for an eGPU, unfortunately. Maybe things will get better in a couple of years.
Michael Brescher says, this might be a dumb question, and it's not. Can somebody generally use an iPhone with a Windows PC? It depends on what you mean, use an iPhone with a Windows PC. You mean, can you main both? Or you mean, can they integrate well, right? Like, I think the latter is a little harder. You can't see your iPhone on your Windows laptop's screen, most probably, but you can use both somehow. Like you can use similar apps, like if you have a Google Drive, you have like Evernote, that sort of thing, and you install both apps on you can see your cross-device syncing pretty easily. So like there's still ways to share data across the two. It's just going to be harder, right?
OneDrive, I really like OneDrive. Google Drive works well too, but I think OneDrive is kind of like the undersung great storage solution on Windows. If you have an Office subscription, you also get like a terabyte of storage too. So all of my stuff is there. And if somebody if our social media guy needs pictures that I've worked on several weeks ago, they're on my OneDrive. I could go on my phone, find the link, pop them to him. So Windows does a lot of stuff, and I wish it was more seamless on iPhones, unfortunately.
Buddy305 Love says, good morning. Is subset. Do you know if it's confirmed that they're developing a flip phone, or is it just rumor territory? I'm going to say by flip phone, you might mean foldable. And yeah, no, we just discussed how they should be working on it, but we still don't know. It's still not going to be this year, probably.
All right. Do you want to get to the thing you want to plug in?
I already just did when I talked about AirTags. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm also looking through questions.
It's all good. Qing Yunma says hello from China mainland. Hello. And then close. Yeah.
All right. I think we can go, and we'll do some more questions at the end.
No, we don't have iMessage on Windows. This is true, and I hate it.
I hate it. I mean, we need a lot more. We need iMessage on Android too. Like, to be honest, or better support for, what is it, the WebRTC RCS standard? Yeah. Declan Flynn, last question. Wild speculation. I think they'll intro a new set of peripherals, keyboard and mouse with USB-C soon, maybe at WWDC. Sure. Yeah. Apple peripherals suck. They're real bad. What's up?
That reminds me that it's not for iPhone 14, but like an upcoming iPhone will probably have USB-C, and that's what I'm waiting for. Just give it.
It'll be nice. Sure. I feel like I have so many other things I want iPhones to do before USB-C, but sure, get to USB-C. Peripherals.
Yeah.
Freaking make a better mouse. What are you doing, Apple? Every time I review an Apple desktop thing, I'm like, I almost like throw the mouse away. I throw it into a corner of my office because I'm like, I would much rather be using the Magic Trackpad, which is a much better experience for moving around macOS versus holding that freaking mouse. I hate those mice. I hate charging those mice. Oh my God. Burn them. Go.
Waiting for the Surface Mouse. Waiting for the Surface
Mouse is real good. Microsoft makes good mice. Logitech makes good mice.
Yes. All right, we can move on. I think we can get back to Q&A soon. Yeah.
Yep, we'll be back at the end, guys. Let's move on to some other news, and some cool things happened this week. YouTube, Google announced that YouTube's app, the TV app, now can use your phone as a second screen. And that is pretty cool. I have not tested this yet myself, but basically the idea is that, if you had YouTube open on maybe Apple TV or Google TV device, you're watching stuff. When you get to YouTube on your phone, it's not just going to be like, let's play another video. It can actually sync up with the TV and let you comment on that video. It can let you do things around that video, which I think is really cool. I don't know about you, Sherilyn, but for me, YouTube has kind of replaced my like random TV browsing. Like I have a good home feed. I get late night clips. I get like video game clips and stuff like that. Like that's just where I go when I'm bored. I just want to watch something. So this is really, really cool. Would this fit into the way you use YouTube on your TV?
Hells yes. I mean, I'm not a big comment leaver on YouTube. I just get afraid.
I know you're a queen troll.
The dumbest
you know.
thing. Yeah, sure. And
I know.
But I do I do get like really frustrated with like what my phone turns into when I'm casting YouTube to my TV, which is that like, it's just like a cue machine device. It's just like hard to really use or navigate or do anything with when I want to read more details about a video or actually read the comments. Yes, I can do it, but like not really. And then if I'm just trying to browse another video before I add it to a list, that's
I don't even know if this is part of the casting thing. I think when you cast, it actually already kind of does this, but if you just like browse around on Apple TV and you go to YouTube and you try to start playing video, then your phone app is very dumb and doesn't know what.
I do both. I do both. So I've done both cast to this. It's even like, sorry, I love you, YouTube people or Google TV people, but every time I go from Google TV and I'm like, like in the suggested feed on the Google TV homepage, they're like, hey, this video, we recommend this video to you. I'm like, cool, click through. I want to watch this. Take me to it. And then they're like, hi, you have multiple accounts signed into this TV. Let's choose one. I was like, sure, choose my YouTube account.
The one you live in a one-person house, the one you always use.
Oh, but it's like my maybe my fake YouTube and my real YouTube, whoever, right? But the thing is, like, then I pick one, and they're like, oops, we forgot what we were taking you to buy. I'm like, give me that video you like suggested to me. What the hell? And so anyway,
Google, buddy, like. This is when I say Google sometimes is just really bad at consumer products. Like it's this sort of thing.
Side rant. Like, that was a side rant. Yep.
I just want to watch the video you're trying to feed me. Like that's it. So anyway, YouTube TV, YouTube on TVs is about to get more interesting. So check that out. Also, I'd recommend. That's a good experience, and this is where I talk about. Is it YouTube Premium? That is why YouTube
Premium's good. Yeah,
it's worth it for me, just because no ads at all, and that just gives you like it's like pure content feed at that point, which good and bad. I don't know. In other news, Microsoft has officially announced the Surface Laptop Go 2. This is the next version of the cheapest and smallest Surface laptop, Surface device, actually the cheapest Surface device. I thought the original was kind of so-so. It has like a 12.4 inch screen with a really low resolution display. Like the old one was like 1536 by 1024. It looks like this new one is that as well. So like that is sub 1080p. That is low.
Yeah, it's just under 1080.
Just under 1080p. I'm like, that became kind of an issue as I was testing it because it just felt like everything was a little too low res. It looks and feel like a cool Surface laptop. Like the outer case was metal, the inside was like plastic. But I think it was just really slow last time. It had I think last time with the 10th gen processor, really slow storage. Now they're bumping up to an 11th gen Intel Core i5 CPU, Xe graphics, so better graphics finally. Better storage all around, 128 gigabyte to 256 gigabyte SSD, starting at $600. So overall, like it seems like a more well-rounded starter PC. Are you at all intrigued by this, Sherilyn?
I'm more intrigued by how the news got announced, which is it was leaked the day before, and then Microsoft was like, screw it, we're gonna announce it now. That's what I think happened, but the timing seems to track. But no, here's the thing, like with the Surfaces, I hate that like $600 is their base price for like not the best specs, and you can with $600 still get a really good laptop from someone else.
Can you? I don't know.
Have you looked at the HP Pavilion Aero?
Yeah, but have you looked at how heavy those are? Like, have you looked at
the HP Pavilion Aero is not heavy. It's like it's comparable to some ultra portables. I think it more skims on like it's. I mean, at least based on our review that Dan Cooper wrote, like the specs are pretty comparable to like what's out there. But no, you're all right that there's trade-offs.
Yeah, there are some trade-offs. In general, Windows laptops, cheap ones tend to be heavy and don't look very cool, whereas this looks pretty sleek. It looks like a Surface laptop, it has a smaller screen. I feel like for maybe for like an elementary school kid or elementary school kids, not high school kids, but I feel like a kid who needs like a little laptop to tote around. This is
I get them
perfectly
a
fine.
Chromebook. I don't know. I
No, what are you? No Chromebooks in this house. I'm sorry.
Dang.
My
Okay.
daughter
Okay.
deserves more than a
Oh, your
Chromebook.
daughter deserves better than a Chromebook.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you. Well, I think
Uh-huh.
we have to wait until we get one of these into test before like either of us
Mhm.
can say for sure.
I mean, yeah, well, hopefully we'll be testing it soon. Keep an eye out
Hopefully, yeah.
for a review. You could go back and read my review, the original, where it was just like, I'm a Surface fanboy. I will come out and say, like, I want these laptops to succeed. And
I love Surfaces.
that first iteration just had some problems, and I
Okay.
couldn't look past them. In other news, Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Facebook, is leaving Meta after 14 years. And that is just pointing this out because this is pretty big news. I feel
Yeah.
like she has been synonymous with Facebook basically since she was appointed. I believe people used to call her the adult in the room because Zuckerberg was like 20 something, you know, when all this started. So she was the person that kind of kept him in line, dealt with like hiring and higher level like decisions. And she just yesterday announced that she will be leaving after later this year. And
Mhm.
Facebook's current Meta's chief growth officer, Javier Olivan, will be taking over that role. It's going to be
Mhm.
different than what she was doing because basically Zuckerberg doesn't need a babysitter anymore. Like that's kind of what this was. Um,
Yes, you know.
yeah. So,
Anyway.
Sherlyn, you've been, I feel like covering the tech industry, you know, for so long too, Sherlyn. Like even
Oh,
before you were covering tech, like who was
yes.
Sheryl Sandberg to you? Like who did she represent?
Yeah, no, I was on a
Hmm.
call when like I heard this news and I was just like, oh, like I didn't like it came to me like Sheryl Sandberg is leaving and no one needed to
Hmm.
say the company name. I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
the
Huh.
Zuckerberg thing. I was just like, cool, okay, like, yeah. Somehow I equated Sandberg with Zuckerberg and
Hmm.
therefore Meta slash Facebook. So no, I was just like, oh crap, that's like big news. Before I really worked in tech media, I didn't really make I care a lot about personnel at big tech companies, or maybe that's a folly of youth. But anyway, now though, like I think it's when I was trying to see the details of what happened. First of all, like she's going to remain on the company's board of
Hmm.
directors.
Hmm.
The other thing is, it's not clear to me at least, and I don't know if it's clear to you, Devindra, of like what led to this. Is she just ready to take on something new, or was
Yeah.
there something else that happened?
So
Because
maybe she needs to do something else in her life. Don't forget, we learned last month. I don't know if we talked about it here on the show,
uh
but there was a report that she like actively tried to block news stories about Activision CEO Bobby Kotick, who we've talked about,
right.
who she is currently dating or was dating at the time, and that was like a big oh. Like that could
Hmm.
be a big issue. So I don't think it's because of that, but she also
Hmm.
kind of doesn't need this job anymore. Like Facebook
Right.
doing fine. She's free to do whatever else she wants. She
Right.
I mean she suffered a great personal tragedy several years ago too. Her husband
Yeah.
died like very suddenly. So like, you know, go live your best life. She could do all sorts of other things. It is
Yeah.
just like she kind of represented this new wave of tech and tech startups and kind of like what they
Yeah.
represented for better or worse, right? Like I don't know, did you ever treat lean in as any kind of like gospel, or did you always like call
No.
that out as being a little kind of BS at the start? I don't know.
It was something I chose to not be bothered by,
Mhm.
or pay too
A lot
much
of people
attention
found
to.
it
I've heard of the
really,
book, obviously.
they found it like very like inspirational. Like, yeah, just lean in, do the hard parts. And I feel like I think the criticism now is that that really oversimplified how hard it is for women in tech, certainly because her strategy didn't
I
actually help that many people, you know?
No, I still struggle with my feelings around like white women being like feminist
Hmm.
ambassadors for maybe women of color
Yeah.
sometimes too.
And the advice
I
is just work harder.
And that's
Work
not right.
harder.
So it's a little tied up with this. But anyway, I do think it's worth pointing out that Sandberg has said that like she is not sure what the future will bring, and that she may be spending more time on her philanthropic work and her foundation. So
Sure.
that just sounds
She
like
is
she's
rich
like ready
and
to chill.
influential.
Yeah.
Like literally you could go do anything. So yeah, best of luck to her. I don't think it's going to mean any functional difference for Facebook at this point, but we
Hmm.
shall see. Let's go through some quick news stories, by the way. TweetDeck for Mac is shutting down on July 1st. And I forgot entirely that there was still a full TweetDeck app just floating around out there. But people on Twitter seemed like very annoyed that this was happening. I think not many people realize that TweetDeck for Mac, and even when it was on Windows, they were just web wrappers. Like go to the website, bookmark the website. It is pretty much the same experience, right?
Same thing, yeah.
You have any feelings about this?
Well, the only time I use TweetDeck is when I'm on news shifts, or like our news feed shift. So
wait, what is your TweetDeck? How do you access Twitter on your computer?
I use the browser. I'm
the website?
like, yeah.
Just twitter.com or tweetdeck.com?
Tweetdeck.com.
Okay,
and I haven't done the news shifting for a bit. Yeah. So I think that might be an adjustment. I used to have the app way back when I was just starting out in tech media, and I was trying to keep on top of all sorts of tech news. But I don't have any like emotional lock in. So I'm cool with, I'm just like, all right, well, I'll see when it impacts me, I guess.
Yeah. You can turn web apps into like apps that are on your desktop, by the way, like both on Windows and Mac. So that is a thing. Look into that if this is a problem for you. I wish, I hope this means like TweetDeck on the web gets better, because it still feels freaking ancient. It still doesn't have all the features that base Twitter does. Like, I forget if polls are even active there. Like sometimes you have to click through and go to the like main Twitter website to access some of these features. So sure, I don't care about the app, but please make TweetDeck better. But also, who knows what's going to happen? Like, who knows if this Musk acquisition is going to go through? Like, who knows what's going on with
Who knows
Twitter?
what's happening with that now? I don't even want to. I have like some severe PTSD.
We're waiting for some updates on like what's happening there, but it seems like somebody has had some buyer's remorse and is like desperately trying to get out of the deal. Yeah. How is your French, Sherilyn?
Bad. Very, very bad.
Can you pronounce the new official terms for esports and streaming that France has? They have banned the English gaming terms, esports and streaming. What are the new terms?
Apparently, streamer is now, and pardon my French, quite literally, but un joueur en direct. And esports is jeu video de competition. I don't know. Anyway, I apologize. I have not good French, not at all. But yeah, Devendra, you're saying France has officially banned gaming terms that are in English, like esports and streaming. You can't say esports in France anymore.
It's illegal.
Sorry, bye.
It's this is like part of the weird like nationalist stuff that's happening. It's part of like the made in France like cycle. It reminds me of the Freedom Prize stuff that crazy American politicians did during it was like at the beginning of the Iraq War, and everything in France was not participating in that. Good on them for that. Yeah. This is just kind of funny. This is a fun story because I don't have any broader takes about this other than France being kinda hilarious.
Well, I guess I'm just like, what's gonna happen if I go and I start saying esports by accident? I'm like,
I want to go there with a shirt that says esports.
Yeah,
on the front
and streaming on
the back.
Ooh,
what are you gonna do, France?
I'm not gonna troll because I get scared easily. But like,
you know what?
Come on.
You know what would be nice, folks? Like if you can speak French or if you have good pronunciation, send us these terms in an audio memo. Shoot them to podcast@engadget.com. I would love to hear the actual way to say these things.
Well, I'm gonna ask our teammate Steve Dent as well.
Steve Dent, who lives in France and whose life I really admire. Yeah, it's beautiful. Go read Steve Dent's camera reviews and all of his stuff in Engadget. And I don't know. What will France do if people start using these terms? Does this mean like all esports events happening there kind of have to follow these rules too? I don't know. There's so much.
Will there ever be any esports events there anymore? Like, because it's just too long of a word to put on a banner? I don't know. I don't know.
Let's move on to what we've been working on, and just want to quickly shout out. As I mentioned before, I am reviewing the latest Dell XPS 15. It's an XPS 15. If you go back and look at my review of the 2020 model, I really like it. 2020 gave us the like big redesign that we were waiting for. So very thin bezels, no bottom bezel at all. Like that screen, like just kissing the keyboard. It's like right there. So it is basically that design again with 12th gen chips and NVIDIA like nice graphics. So I'm doing some testing. I'm looking forward to writing that up. So keep an eye out for that review. What are you working on, Sherilyn?
Yeah, no, I'm heading to WWDC, so we're getting ready for that. I am also working on, I have like a guide that I'm putting up soon, and then we're gonna.
You sound unsure about this.
Yeah, no, I like got back to work after like my 10 days with family. I was just like, what is work? What is life? So I'm sort of still in that place a little bit, but no, I'm getting back up to speed. So taking stock of what else I have left to do besides WWDC, which includes testing of more stuff in the background. No embargoes at the moment. Y'all can rest easy. But as always, I'm sure they're coming soon.
Let's talk about some stuff around Engadget. We just very recently we published a best kitchen gadgets guide, which includes my beautiful Breville toaster oven. Actually not mine. This is the Breville Smart Oven Air Fryer Pro. This is the super upgraded version. But yeah, some cool gadgets here. Anything you want, Sherilyn?
Yes, I will say it's like a kitchen package too. It's not just like a best kitchen gadgets only. So I wrote about like food delivery services that I eventually settled on, being like a person who lives in a cosmopolitan city. And then, I think Matt Smith also did like an air fryer guide, which is cool. I've always been like curious about buying an air fryer for myself perhaps, and he went and tested a lot. Sam Rutherford did an immersion blender guide. So a lot of these like kitchen gadgets that we tested, in addition to like just overall tips for like being in and making the most use of your kitchen.
Yes, I did something, the Ozma instant cold brew machine that we've talked about a couple months ago. So I wrote up my experience with that thing. There's some cool things here, but my main thing to everybody out there, get a toaster oven. It will change your life. Really? It makes so much meal prep so much easier. I threw a whole chicken into a toaster oven last week, and like an hour later,
from raw.
Yeah, that's what you. Okay. That's.
So you bake it. Okay.
Yeah. I cooked the whole chicken from raw in the toaster oven, and it came out beautifully. So these things, especially with a child, heating up child foods and chicken nuggets and whatnot, these things are indispensable. And check out our entire guide at Engadget.com.
We also want to shout out Nate Ingram's review of the Sonos Ray soundbar. This is the $280 soundbar that is, really just Sonos' lowest price product this far. And it seems like he, didn't hate it. It's just not. It's good for what it costs, I guess.
Yeah, it's a $279 soundbar, so that's still not budget. Like there are $100 or $200 soundbars that sound really good, but for Sonos, I guess this is budget Sonos, right?
Exactly. For all the other features that you're getting with any Sonos speakers, you're paying more for that than just the sound quality. But from what we can see from Nate's review, anyway, those of you with larger living rooms or larger spaces in general, just might want to consider something that is louder and perhaps maybe more expensive.
Look at the beam, everybody. Or I just saw this story, the Sonos Arc, which is their freaking their Dolby Atmos one, is discounted quite a bit if you buy a refurbed unit. So go check Engadget.com for that link. That is a great deal if you have a little more money to spend. That thing sounds incredible. Also, Igor at Engadget, he wrote up Diablo Immortal, the long in the works mobile / MMO rethinking of Diablo, set between Diablo 2, that last expansion, and Diablo 3. It's Diablo on mobile. And first I have to ask, because we always like to talk about Sherilyn in games. Sherilyn, are you a Diablo fan? Are you secretly
I like the idea of Diablo. I love the idea of demon hunting, but no, I have not played any of this. Okay. I want to hunt demons though. Give me your send me.
You can on your phone.
without the cancer. Okay,
You want to
cool.
be Constantine. Yeah, Constantine is good. That would be a good game.
Right.
It seems like this is a good Diablo game. Like it's a little simpler. The skills are a little dumber. You're still playing like you have to use like virtual controls if you're just playing on your phone. You can attach like a Razer Kishi or what do you call it, the backbone for that too. Here the problem is like they're leaning really into like paywall stuff and paying money
Premium?
for things. Yeah,
Okay.
like loot box stuff basically. Like this game is not going to
Mm.
be sold in country, or is not going to be available in countries that have loot box laws. But they have these things called legendary gems and crests that are mostly paywalled. It costs you $25 for a pack of 10 legendary crests. You need those for a better chance of getting a randomized legendary gem. Oh my god, it's just, and that's the only way you get
I'm not gonna play
good
this.
items.
I'm not gonna play this.
And the drops are all random, so you can even spend that money and not get the things you want. We are worrying, I know our podcast producer Ben is worrying that could these mechanics make their way into future Diablo releases? I don't know, but I think a lot of these game companies are looking at these things and they just have like slot machines for eyes, like in a cartoon. They're like more microtransactions and people are going to pay this. NFTs in our games, which I know Square and a couple other companies are really looking hard at. These companies are looking for new ways to basically make money from addicted players, and this is certainly one way. Are you going to play this though, Sherilyn? Like this sounds like a really easy way to get into Diablo. I think you could play this.
I want to try. And so if not on mobile, what's the platform for Diablo? Is it like console or is it PC?
This game is mobile. It's mostly a PC series, but this is a mobile game. There is a PC version coming, I believe. So that is also going to be happening.
Yeah, I would try the game to be, like you said, an introduction to the series, and then I would get tired really quickly and maybe just pay for the like PC version or something.
Would you get tired really quickly? I have seen you play.
This is look. I've jumped from solitaire to Jigsaw to the New York Times crossword, where I've cleared everything in the archive now, and I need something new. So to Diablo might be it. Although I did start reading. I did just start reading instead. So
that's a thing you could do instead of games. I'll probably spend some time with this. I'm not a huge Diablo player. I do remember my first time like getting into Diablo, like Diablo 2 or something, after hearing PC players gush about it forever. And it's just like it's a little top-down game where you're clicking around and killing things. I'm like,
it's top-down.
Yeah, it is more basic than you think. And it's still really addictive and it feels really good, but I don't know.
I see.
Click, kill.
I just want to stare a demon in the face and shoot it to smithereens. Is that so much to ask?
Then you should be playing Doom, honestly.
Doom.
You should play Doom.
Yeah. All right.
You should play Doom.
We
will live stream Sherilyn playing Doom at some point. Let's move on to our picks, our pop culture picks, or whatever picks of the week. Sherilyn, what do you got?
I have some travel tips for everybody, and that's why Devendra had to be like, not pop culture.
Tips.
Yeah. Tips for the week. Mostly because I've just come back from a slew or a bout of travel, and I'm about to travel again. And on our live stream now is a picture of an airplane in the sky, which is great. Maybe there's a picture of me inside, who knows? Yes. So after traveling so much, for the first time really since the pandemic, I have learned some things. I need to shout out our executive editor, Aaron Suporis, for cluing me onto this one, which is to use a hotels app whenever you get the chance. For me, it was like I was using the Marriott Bonvoy app for a while, and then I was using the Hilton Honors app. And both of them have great features where you can directly message the hotel instead of trying to call front desk for every little request. You can check out info, but I think the most interesting feature, and this is on the Hilton app, is the ability to not only check into your room a day early, but also to select your room from what's available. I don't know that. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? So when my parents were in town, I had their room on my phone.
Where did your parents stay? Were they close to you, or were they in
We were very close. They were in Jersey City. Yeah.
Okay.
So I put them up at like the Canopy by Hilton in Jersey City, which I will write an extended review about another time. But I was like, hey, you guys wanna pick your room? They're like, can you do that? I was like, yeah. Do you like a high floor? Do you like a near the elevator? Like I had so many, I could see literally the floor plans of every room and pick the one within the price range that I paid for and choose it. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then you get obviously the digital key features. You get to message the hotel. You get like to check out from the app, and so you don't need to do front desk stuff anymore. Even though I'd say argue that like you could walk out of the hotel for a very long time now without checking out. But yeah, so I recommend like if you're staying at a hotel, you know, consider using the app there. You might find more features in it available than before. And then the other thing that I used more during this last trip was kind of like whatever Turo, the ride sharing app. I was able to, me and my cousin were able to use this app to book some cars for parts of our trip. Yeah, it was very nice. Easy to do. It used to be known as relay rides.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah. So
is that better than just calling like Ubers for where you need to go, like a big Uber or something?
So yeah, I got it in like Portland, where we were trying to take a day trip out to Acadia National Park. So it was like a 3-hour drive, that sort of thing. And then so I only did it for a day. And you're not gonna Uber 3 hours. That's gonna be like $500 or something.
Is it a driver, or is it you have to drive?
You have to drive. So it's like renting a car basically, but from someone who owns their own car rather than dealing with Hertz or Enterprise. So you get often better deals. You also get a more personal like touch, I guess. And it's very, very convenient. There is, however, like a car renting-ish service coming soon to some cities. It's called Kite with a Y, Kyte, that I read about.
This was what was it called? What was the car rental service? The name is escaping me at this point. I don't know.
But Kite will deliver the car to you, which I think is fun, as opposed to having to go meet like a car owner or go to the car rental station or whatever to pick up a car. So Kite, I'm looking forward to testing them out when they do launch. But anyway, those are just like 2 travel app tips that I have in general too. If you're going to Portland, Maine, because my flights got canceled, I just want to tell you to be careful, because there's still PWM, the Portland International Jetport, is still under construction. Most of their runways are closed. They have this very short runway left. So if there's any sort of weather at all, a lot of flights from in and out of there are going to be canceled, delayed, whatever. So just a tip that if you're considering Portland, Maine, maybe try another airport or wait. I don't know.
Or another airport. Well, I'm glad you figured that out. Do you have any pop culture to share, Sherilyn, or are you just...
I did watch a few movies that I know you're not going to approve of, and I also we had this conversation before the call started. I'm a Harry Potter fan, and I will love any chance to be immersed in that world, any chance I get. So then, you know, when Fantastic Beasts dropped this week, I did watch it on HBO Max. And
which Fantastic Beasts is this?
This is the 3rd one. It's called The Secrets of Dumbledore, I think. And you know, it's the first one to feature Mads Mikkelsen as Grindelwald, and the greatest
Mads Mikkelsen.
And he's really good in it. I've seen the interviews he's done about this role, where, you know, he's discussed, like, people have asked him, oh, are you gonna, like, you know, do Johnny Depp's version of the character or not? And he said no, to do that would be creative suicide. And he's not wrong. Like, he plays it a whole other way. I think with any Johnny Depp character nowadays, you're going to expect some sort of whimsy is the nice word for it. And Mads Mikkelsen as Grindelwald is just more... He's more
smoldering. Like, he's more like,
very smoldering. I could see, I was like, oh, I see why Dumbledore was in love with you. Like,
it's because
you're like really hot. Like,
the only thing I remember about this freaking series is at the end of the first movie, Colin Farrell's face like melts away.
Oh yeah.
And he turns into Johnny Depp, and everybody in my theater was like, what the hell? What?
Yes. Yeah,
and that was a secret for the movie, and we're like,
I know.
And the movie was like, look, it's Johnny Depp. And everybody was just confused and like, I don't know if I like this. Okay, sure. This series at this point is among movies that don't exist, I would say. Like, movies that are made or released are out there. But to my eye, I think to like much of the general public, it's just like, movie does not exist. That movie never actually happened. Even though it's on the front page of HBO Max, doesn't exist.
It's just been such a problematic situation for that series, right? I mean, there's J.K. Rowling and transphobia. Then there's
and the whole Depp thing, especially now Depp with the trial. God.
But the Johnny Depp thing is pretty funny because if you think about the 3 movies so far in this particular series, that character Grindelwald has been played by 3 different actors for the bulk of each movie. So the first one was Colin Farrell most of the time, and the second one was the real and only one that Johnny Depp was, Grindelwald and all of it. And then we had Mads Mikkelsen, which it's just the way it played out. I'm sure that Johnny Depp was supposed to be, Grindelwald in the third one as well. Anyway, and then there's Ezra Miller, who God, I wish I could enjoy watching this person act, because I enjoyed them in the Justice League movie. I enjoyed them as Flash. I didn't hate their portrayal of Credence.
They had some good indie movies back in the day, and now dude is having a lot of issues. So look up news stories about that guy. I
think they're
I hope he gets some help. It sounds like he's going through a lot or something.
I think their pronoun is they.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, there's a lot going on there that might add to the whole violent outbursts from this person. But that's why this series and this franchise is in a very weird place right now. Good luck, I guess. I just like to be in that wizarding world and to listen to the music.
Doesn't exist. Never happened. These movies, I don't know what you're talking about, Sherilyn. These movies don't exist. I'll talk about some things real quick. Undone season 2. I think I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, but I'm actually making my way towards the end, and just want to quickly shout out the show. Freaking gorgeous, amazing. Has brought me to tears several times, because it is a beautiful look at a generational trauma, and what if you had the superpowers to go back in time and change reality and help your family. Would you do it? Could you do it? What is the impact of that? It's also beautiful because it's all rotoscoped animation, so every frame of the series looks like a freaking painting. I love it. I think it's incredibly well written and well acted, and it is fantastic. Rosa Salazar is very good in this. I love her in everything, but she's particularly great here. Also, Bob Odenkirk plays her father, who has a much bigger role in season 2. So if you like season 1 and you didn't think they could actually go harder or bigger with it, definitely check out season 2. It's some amazing stuff. Also want to quickly shout out Barry on HBO, which I forget if I've talked about here. Barry's really good. Barry's really good.
It's really good.
And it started out as being Bill Hader is doing a hitman show that's kind of a dark comedy at times. And I think that this show is really coalesced into something truly special. The most recent episode, both one of the funniest things I have seen in recent memory. There's one scene in particular that I've watched 5 or 6 times at this point, because it is it is hilarious, both in its execution and the way it's all put together. Also randomly turned into an incredible action sequence from Bill Hader, somebody who clearly likes movies and likes chase movies and action movies. So Barry is so good. If you like weird irreverent comedy, if you like Bill Hader and Stephen Root, there's a ongoing joke around Stephen Root, an actor who I've loved forever. The show feels like it was made specifically for me and the weird things I'm into. So check out Barry on HBO, one of the best things on TV. And that's it for me. I think you can take us out, Sherilyn.
Yeah. Well, that's it for our episode this week, everyone. Thank you as always for listening. Our theme music is by our very own Terrence O'Brien. Ooh, let me take. Our theme music is by game composer Dale North. Our outro music is by our very own Terrence O'Brien. The podcast is produced by Ben Elman. You can find Devindra online at
Devindra on Twitter, and at the Filmcast podcast at thefilmcast.com.
If you want to send me travel tips or just travel questions, I am somehow a seasoned traveler at this point. I am at Sherlyn Lowe on Twitter. Email us your thoughts at podcast@engadget.com. Leave us a review, please, on iTunes, and subscribe on anything that gets podcasts. All right. I think we have time for some Q&A. I saw, by the way, Albert Aiden in our chat was like, here's how you can pronounce the French words. So I want to try it. It was, Let me see. And Albert, by the way, is a friend of Engadget and also of mine. I'm trying to look for it. Anjou. Oh my gosh.
Not helping.
No, I'm just not being able to find. Here it is. Okay. Enjour on direct.
Direct.
Enjour on direct.
It's our new segment.
Let me know if that's any better. Let me know if that's any better. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Then there's a lot more questions. Drew Kamroka said, "Yo, hey, what's up?" And then
I see some questions. Sean Anderson
Go
says,
for
"Love the trackpad on Apple stuff. Love the trackpad. Kill all mice. Yes, agreed. Or at least kill all Apple mice. Don't kill my MX Master 2, which I love. I've always loved these. Let's go through here. I'm losing my place. Eric Ostrel says, in TweetDeck for Tesla. I don't. I mean,
I think some Elon Musk and Twitter commentary probably. Louis Knock Jr. says hashtag Team Marriott. Cool. Yeah. Car2Go is an app that did come up when I was looking at
Car2Go. I was thinking of Zipcar, which was the original one, and I guess that company was such a huge failure. Actually, like when I was working after college, I even like put a little money into their stock. They were a huge failure because logistically, like so many things, like things we were just not ready for that, and now there are all these car rental startups. So that's funny.
Turo, by the way, this week or yesterday actually announced it's just launching in New York and France, and that makes it like the first and only car sharing app to have like to be available in all 50 states. So
finally, oh my god, when I was in Brooklyn, I was like, where's Turo? Like Turo's in New Jersey, but it's not in New York.
It's here in Jersey. I know. Yeah.
I also I'm a little icked out by renting somebody's personal car because cars are very personal spaces.
I know.
They're
it's like Ubers
at times, or
I know they are, but thankfully every Turo, like, you can read reviews of people's cars too, right? So if they're gross, they're gonna be gross. And also at the end of every like rental, Turo asks you to rate the cleanliness and everything. That's good. One car that I did rent during this recent like spate of travel that like the cup holders, someone clearly spilled ice cream in them and didn't clean it out. And so me and my cousin had to clean it out before we took it to see our parents because we were like, oh yeah, the older
you can't show the parents that. Yeah.
Oh dude, we like spent 15 minutes at the gas station wiping that shit down with like Lysol. It was great.
That's fun.
But no, a lot of these stuff. Yeah, a lot of people like on Turo host fleets of cars, so they're more like they're less.
They're like little car rental companies.
Exactly, they're little business owners now, right? So I guess better a small business than a major conglomerate. I don't know.
I feel also like the idea of doing like your actual precious car, like your main car, and renting it off a little bit. So many things can go wrong with cars.
You can't do that.
And somebody rents it and messes up something, you never really know. Oh man, car landlords, as our podcast producer Ben points out. Yes,
I want to shout out Julio with the graphics and that very sophisticated animation. Just
now we were flying
travel. Yeah, it felt like there was turbulence. Oh my goodness, Julio, this pilot license, we cannot issue it.
Yes. We're gonna have to wrap soon.
Oh my gosh, it's shaking.
Oh man.
Put your seat back to the tray tables up.
I want to point out, Albert Aiden also said he watched Moonfall thanks to my high praise and strong recommendation. No, he's joking because I hated that movie. That movie's not even
that one. I want to
fun
watch
because it's dumb. I think maybe you like it, Sherlyn.
Because it's gonna be stupid. Hi to Mark Dell.
Hello, Mark Dell.
Mark Dell is like, how great is the new Rescue Rangers and Sonic 2 movie? I haven't seen Sonic 2. I want to watch it though.
Rescue Rangers is good. It's good. Sonic 2 sounded like a disappointment from the first one. I haven't seen it yet. I really did like the first one a lot.
I did enjoy the first one. It was pretty good. We'll see. And then also, Buddy305 Love asked, will I be playing the Harry Potter game when it's released? Which Harry Potter game? Because I played the phone one. It's not good. Spoiler alert. Not cool. It's all right. Yeah. And Mark says that he loved the last 7 minutes of this show, the best 7 minutes of the show. Do you mean this show, the Engadget podcast?
This show.
Or do you mean like, okay.
I don't know.
I hope it is this last 7 minutes, because if it is, then hey, thanks. I'm on the web trying to get people to vote for me in some sort of prize, but I'm not up for anything.
In your mind, you always are. Yeah.
Yeah, in my mind,
please vote for Sherilyn for whatever. Thank you, folks.
In my mind, vote me. Yeah, vote for me. Anyway.
Thank you, folks, for joining us.
Yes.
I think we can wrap. I think we can wrap, everybody. Have a good week.
Yes, Ben is usually here to do this, but we always have to thank our live stream team that includes Julio Barrientos, the amazing pilot of this show, and Luke Brooks, and also everyone that was in the chat today. We really appreciate you joining us every day. Come through. Oh, not every day, every week at Thursday.
Every week. Maybe we could do some other things. Maybe we should be doing some like Twitter Spaces more or something.
So give us more ideas. Send your ideas for our shows to to podcast@engadget.com or tweet us at Engadget. Buddy305 Love just clarified the game he was talking about was Hogwarts Legacy. Come back with your questions. Also, we will have a post WWDC recap show that Devindra will be co-hosting, I believe, along with Sam Rutherford. So come back.
That's good to know. I did not know that. So yeah, that's good for me to.
I have just announced it, or at least I think you will be. If it's not you, then it's someone else.
It'll probably be me. We'll see what our timing looks like. Yeah.
It's M2. Yeah, we'll see. We'll figure something out. But anyway, thank you all. And I wish I could say all your names, but we're glad you joined us. Thanks,
everybody. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.